Hello! Everybody knows the Porsche 911 GT3 is special, but what is it specifically that Porsche does to these 911s to make them unforgettable? Well, today I'm going to show you the three things that Porsche does specifically to this 911 to make them stand out amongst all the turbos and Carreras that are out there. And this one is a GT3 Touring lent to me by Porsche Danbury and is for sale if you want to buy it. So, let's go. So we'll talk about what makes the GT3 Touring different, and most likely the one to have, for me at least, a little later. But firstly, the engine. So the first thing that Porsche does to make it different is this engine. Yes, this is not a turbo engine like all the other 911s these days, including the Carreras. This is a naturally aspirated flat six 4-litre built by Porsche's motorsport division in Weissach, and that's the same people, those are the same people that build the RSRs. Now the result is all that noise, all that excitement, but precision as well. You know when the power's going to come on, and it comes on progressively, and it sounds fabulous. It's more noisy than the turbo engines, obviously because you're revving it more. But it adds to the excitement and just makes this car. So yeah, the first thing that Porsche does to a 911 to make it a GT3 is to give you a racing engine and not a road engine. The second thing then that makes this car unique to the range is the steering, front and rear. Now the front has a slightly different ratio, which is much faster. It feels like a go-kart, honestly. You turn the steering wheel and the thing just changes direction instantly. Also, at the rear, you have rear wheel steering as standard. Now you can make the argument that the turbo has that as well, and you can even specify it on the Carrera. But on this, it's a standard, and it is configured so that it comes on more quickly, adding to that go-kart effect. So the third thing that Porsche does to make this car different from all the other 911s out there is, of course, the suspension. On the front end of turbos and Carreras, you will find that they are set up with McPherson struts. Those are smaller and not quite as flexible as the double wishbone setup that we have here on this GT3. And the double wishbone setup allows greater, more flexible camber to keep more of the tyre patch in contact with the road, which gives better handling. When you add that to the stiffer springs, the rose links at the back in the multi-link suspension, and the tyres, this car wears Cup 2s rather than the PS4S's, then you get a lot more feedback, a lot more precision. Sure, it's firmer, it maybe doesn't ride as well. Ironically, the turbos and the Carreras are actually more set up for touring than this GT3 Touring. But that's the third thing. They give you racing car suspension. They engineer the suspension for handling rather than ride. So the effect of putting all these things together, the suspension, the steering, the engine, is that you get something truly unique. Now, two honourable mentions here. One, this gearbox. Don't have the PDK. Don't have the PDK. It's not worth it. This is a really precise gearbox, short throw, and suits the style of this car so well. And the second honourable mention is these 18-way adjustable adaptive sports seats with memory. You can have the bucket seats, the carbon fibre bucket seats, but I think they suit the aesthetic and the style of the GT3 with the big wing on the back. On this Touring, I think it suits it perfectly. Now, speaking of the Touring, let's just go back and look at the history of this car, because this car has got quite some heritage now.
To understand the Touring, we need to go back to 2016 and to a car that changed everything, the 911R. The 911R was Porsche's answer to enthusiasts who didn't want a track car, they wanted a driver's car. It borrowed the GT3 RS engine, that glorious 4-litre 9,000 RPM flat six, but ditched the roll cage, aero and noise for something lighter, purer and manual only. Porsche built just 991 examples, dealers charged over $180,000 new, and within weeks they were selling for $500,000. The message was loud and clear. People loved the idea of the GT3 performance without the race car attitude. So when the 991.2 GT3 arrived, Porsche listened. They took the 911R blueprint, same engine, manual gearbox, no wing, and made it a regular production option. And that's how the GT3 Touring was born.
So which one would you have? Would you have the GT3 with its wing? Or would you have this car and go under the radar a bit? I have to say I quite like this one because you could take this out for a thrash, which is what it's great at. On these country lanes here in Connecticut with the 8,000 revs, the manual box and the slightly more comfortable seats. You can take it out for a thrash, then go out for dinner and arrive without looking like you've turned up to the starting line of Le Mans. I might feel a bit of a dick if I arrived in a GT3, whereas in this Touring, if you know, you know. And I don't care if you know. I know, and I know what fun I'm going to have in this car, and I absolutely love it. This is one of Porsche's all-time greats. And I say that advisedly. I've driven a few of them, particularly the Boxster RS Spider a few weeks ago. That was a sensational car, but this somehow suits my aesthetic a lot more, of just staying under the radar. I wouldn't have this car in a loud colour. I'd have it in a gentle colour, and if you know, you know. Well, there we are. Look, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Now you know what really makes a GT3 a GT3. They are special cars. They ride a little differently to the other ones. I think you could handle it on a longer drive, but maybe a Turbo or Carrera would do that rather better. But for these country lanes, wow, there is nothing better than this car, I don't think. Wow! Holy cow. Oh yeah. What a vehicle. There isn't much that's keeping up with this on a sweepy lane. You think you're going to do it in your turbo, even though you might have a bit more power, you're not. You're really not. This thing can push on, and I don't think you're going to have quite so much of a smile on your face either in your turbo compared to this. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Give me a comment. I want to know what you think of this car. And let me know what you think in the comments below. I will see you and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching.